Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here. In today's video, I'll be talking about a former Washington legend who is mentoring a current Washington Commanders rookie and how Jaylin has been absolutely balling out recently. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, notification bell as well. All those things are free. It takes 1 second, guys. If you guys are new, just hit that subscribe button and comment down below done. I really appreciate it. And yeah, let's get right into it. So we're kind of in the middle of training camp, recording this on Monday night. We'll post it for you guys Tuesday. We got joint practice, stuff like that. But I wanted to talk about Jaylin. It's been a while since I talked about him on the channel, and I go to Virginia Tech, so know a lot about Jaylin and was a huge fan of the draft pick at the time when the Commanders made the pick. And, it's looking like so far he's been doing pretty well. Does that mean it's going to translate? Not necessarily. But I wanted to talk about, how he's done so far, but also Brian Mitchell and how he has been mentoring Jaylin so far, not only, early in the process, but throughout the process. So this was not rookie mini camp, but OTAs or whatever. And you got Jaylin here on the left, 83. You got KJ Osborne there, number 13. And you got OG right here, Brian Mitchell, who is mentoring, helping out these guys, these returners, because obviously one of the better returners of all time should be in the Hall of Fame, as should, Gary Clark and Joe Jacoby. But that is a debate for another day. But Jaylin, he can learn a lot from a guy like Brian Mitchell. And Jaylin, obviously, will be their punt returner. Right now, he's listed as number 2 on the depth chart, but at the practices, he's been the guy getting the returns as the number 1 guy. But also, not only this, because this isn't really a one-on-one thing with Jaylin and Brian Mitchell, but also I was listening to the John Keim report, and he said that Jaylin has been calling Brian Mitchell, has been asking for advice on the phone, so stuff like that. I don't know if this is a one-time thing. From what I remember from the report, it was a multiple-time thing, like he's been calling him a lot. So, that is good to hear, and not only because he's getting really valuable information from one of the greatest returners of all time, but also that he's proactive, that he does want to get better, that he is seeking out, this information and, reaching out to these guys. Because, some guys, first of all, they're not that hungry. And second of all, some of these guys are kind of like scared to maybe reach out to some of these, older guys, or even worse, they don't think that these guys know much or can really help them with their game. But that's not true at all. These guys can definitely have a lot to offer. And obviously, Brian Mitchell does as a returner. So Jaylin, that's the biggest thing he can add this year as, impact player, is his return ability. If he can help this offense start at the 30, at the 40, at the 50, wherever, 30 would be great at the opposite 30. But, if it's the 40 or 50, or even if it's just, getting 10, 15 yards, that's huge. That helps out a lot. And, maybe a touchdown every, now and then. It's been, a minute since we got a touchdown, I believe. I'm trying to remember. I know Crowder got a touchdown. I'm pretty sure it was a kick return. And then DeAndre Carter, I know he got a kick return against the Falcons. But, it's been a while since we've had a good returner like Brandon Banks. So, Jaylin has, I would be disappointed if he's not a good returner. We picked him to be a good returner, also to be a good receiver. I'm going to show you some highlights from his camp because he's been absolutely balling. Also, I'll be talking about what Cliff Kingsbury said about him. So this was a play the other day. Throw from Sam Hartman. Jaylin makes a nice catch and scores a touchdown. So you see Jaylin there and jogging into the end zone. I don't know who was that against. I see Tyler Owens there, but Tyler Owens is a safety, so I doubt he was on. I doubt he was on Jaylin. So it looks like maybe, I think that's 23, which would be Amos. You can't see for sure there, but it looks like it is 23. And Trey Amos, that's another rookie who's been balling. Obviously got beat there, but had 2 interceptions. Today, I guess when you guys are seeing this, it's going to be yesterday, but he's been balling out. Trey Amos, made a video about him today. Check that out for sure. Some good insight about him. But yeah, Jaylin had that touchdown there. This is the play of camp probably. A nice throw by, Jaden Daniels. Definitely a risky throw, but it's a, classic training camp throw you want your quarterback to make. You don't really care too much if your quarterback's being a little bit risky during training camp because, if it's an interception, it is what it is. You just don't want those habits to carry too much into the, regular season. But let me play this for you guys here. And over Sanders still and someone else there. I couldn't see who it was. But you see there, Jaden super happy. And back to what I was saying, obviously you want your quarterback to be, smart with the football and everything like that. But in training camp, that's a time to experiment. All right, can this guy right here make the play? At that point, Jaylin Lane wasn't making a lot of plays. So let's see if my rookie, first of all, if he's got anything. And second of all, let's get his let's see if he can go make a play. And that momentum, turned into some really solid football from Jaylin Lane after that point as well. So I think that's part of the process with Jaden. Would he make this throw in a game? I don't know. It's Jaden Daniels. He's got the arm talent to do it. And, he's got the balls too. So he definitely would do it. But yeah, overall, a good play. And you see Mike Sanders still there. Sanders out of bounds. But Jaylin Lane and Jaden, hopefully their connection there is good. And let's go over some other things. I was trying to look at some other highlights. Let's look at what Cliff Kingsbury had to say about rookie Jaylin Lane. He said, let me pause the GIF right there. He's been very impressive. He's a coach's kid, been around the game his entire life. You tell him how to do it one time, he usually nails it. And if he makes a mistake, he'll come back and correct it. But super talented, very fast. I've been really impressed. I don't think I could see some of those things at VT. Watch the film and getting him here in person and watching him run around and watching the coachability and the route tree that he can run. It's been really impressive. Some additional information there. His dad was, a coach, I believe, his whole life. Pretty involved in, his recruiting and stuff like that. Really good guy from what I've heard. And same thing with Jaylin Lane, really good guy, really good leader. Wasn't a captain at VT, but it's hard for the receivers to be captains. But again, from everything I've heard, he's a really good guy. And that's one thing. And Cliff was trying to be nice there without really dogging Virginia Tech. But our offense sucked. Our quarterback situation was awful. We had Kyron Drones, who, had big expectations, but then he got hurt and wasn't playing well, was playing injured, whatever. No excuses there. But that's, in terms of Jaylin Lane's productivity, it hurt. And then you had some, backup quarterback, third-string quarterback. You had Colin Schlee, who the Commanders actually signed or had invited to a rookie minicamp invite, but he as a tight end instead of a quarterback. So that's who they had at quarterback for a little bit there. It just was ugly, guys. It really was. And the OC wasn't good. And they had talent on the offense. They really did, but they weren't really able to utilize it. And I think Jaylin Lane, I think Jaylin Lane is going to be able to thrive a lot more in an offense, that actually is able to run well and has a quarterback that can make all these type of throws and that has a coordinator that can utilize him the way he should be. This guy's an explosive play guy, but he can be used in all sorts of different ways. You can use him as a, gadget player, as a, give him a end around play. He can do that. I saw him do it at training camp, saw him do it at Virginia Tech. Obviously, he can punt return. If you need him to, he can kick return. And then, he can, get you some screens, slants. Also, give him a deep shot and he won't let you down too. So he can do a little bit of everything. He's got great speed. He is small, which, can be an advantage and obviously a disadvantage as well in terms of contested catch stuff. But, he's pound for pound a really good player and really strong guy. Again, pound for pound. He's not going to be, stronger than DK Metcalf or even Terry McLaurin, but, he can make some plays for sure and break some tackles occasionally. So, Jaylin Lane, expectations for him this year, good punt returner. And I just want to see some flashes on offense, assuming Terry plays, Debo plays, Noah Brown, you got those guys in the offense. So there's not a lot of targets for Jaylin Lane, but I do want to see those plays, and I want to see, some potential, and I want to see him get more involved as the season goes on. The opposite was true for Luke McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey was the first 4, 5, 6 weeks. Not saying he was insane, but he had some production. He was doing decent. The last 10 games, almost nothing. So if it would have been the opposite with Luke McCaffrey, there could have been some, all right, he's growing, he's getting better. Maybe he did this offseason. Cliff Kingsbury had some really high praise for him. But you don't like to see that plateau and decline in production. So with Jaylin, if it's a little slow in the beginning, that's fine. But if you want those big plays, end of the season, big moments, but just getting better as the season goes on. So that's not just Jaylin Lane. That's Bill, Jacory, Krosky, Merritt. That's some of the Josh Connerly especially. I think Trey Amos is going to be the rookie that gets the most PT right away. He's going to be the starting outside corner. But guys like Josh Connerly, he's going to get a lot of PT, and Jaylin Lane will start too, and hopefully Bill gets some PT as well. Hopefully he's RB1. I don't know if he will be. He's definitely competing for that spot. I know he's 5th on the depth chart, but the depth chart doesn't really mean too much. Maybe he's not 1st or 2nd, but he's definitely not 5th. He's definitely not 5th. He's over Chris Rodriguez, and he's over Jeremy McNichols. It's just a totally different running back and totally different role, but he would be over him in my eyes. And then obviously Eckler's a different role than him for sure. I think early on the season will be a little bit split. Maybe Robinson gets a lot more carries than Bill does, and we were disappointed. But hopefully Brian Robinson looks great. But if he doesn't, hopefully they transition to Bill, and Bill's able to carry this run game on his back alongside with Jaden Daniels. Honestly, hopefully not with Jaden Daniels. Hopefully Jaden doesn't have to, also carry the run game on his back like he did last year. And hopefully he can just give you a calm 600 rushing yards instead of 900, because that means he's taking less hits and the running game is doing a lot better. So that is it for today's video. Wanted to just talk all things Jaylin Lane and some other rookies as well. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, do all that good stuff. Like I said, I really appreciate it. If you stayed till the end, we're gonna start this series back up. If you stayed till the end, go ahead and comment down below. Torrey McTyer, a guy that had a really good preseason and offseason. I forgot what year, maybe 2020, 2021, and started off the season decent and then got hurt in that Falcons game, I believe, which sucks. But Torrey McTyer, comment him down below. Peace.